Hi, I'm Kelly from Kelly J Jewellery, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make these cute little earrings. I've used quite small teardrop stones, but you could use larger stones if you want to, or circular stones. I've put a list in the description below of everything you'll need to make these. Also there's affiliate links to all of my tools if you want to have a look at the tools I use. And please subscribe if you haven't already. There are also links below to my Facebook page and my Etsy shop if any of you are interested in looking at my written tutorials that I sell on there. Today I'm working with square wire and half round wire. So to make this pendant you'll need square wire, that's 20 gauge, 0.8 millimeters, and I've cut 6 lengths at 9 inches, that's 23 centimeters. The half round wire is 21 gauge, which is 0.71 millimeter, and I've cut 2 lengths at 9 inches, which is 23 centimeters, and 2 lengths at 5 inches, which is 12 centimeters. You'll need 2 teardrop all round little cabochons for these earrings. Mine are 12mm by 8mm, flat backed. And you'll need 2 little 3mm beads. Tools, we've got pliers, round nose pliers, wire cutters, and I'll be using nylon pliers. If you don't have these, don't worry, you can straighten the wires with your fingers. So I straighten all my wires in advance. If you want to see the tools that I'm using, I've put links in the description below. Those are affiliate links, eBay links, so you can go and have a look at the tools that I use. And if you're thinking about buying tools, please use my links. So to start with, we'll take 3 lengths of the square wire and find the centre point, and then you'll need 1 length of the shorter half round wire, if I can pick that up. So starting with the flat of the wire against the flat of the half round against the wire, and we're going to wrap all around the 3 wires together. And we're going to wrap around about 8 times. I'm just going to flatten that down with my pliers and push it together. And then we need to cut these ends off. And I'm going to cut them so they finish behind and you can't see from the front. You can't see the ends. And then I'll flatten those down. With my pliers just on the ends. And because we're making earrings, it's best to do the 2 together as we go. So take your other 3 wires and your other short piece of half round and do the same again. So now we've got 2 the same. I'm going to pull my wires apart a little bit, because once they're in the shape that we want them to be around the stone, they're quite hard to separate. So we separate them a bit now. And I'll do that with the other one as well. So now we're ready to add our stones. Take your pliers and you want to group half of the wires, roughly. And you want your cut ends to be at the back. And pushing right next to your pliers, we're going to put a V into the bottom of the wire, into the wires. And this V needs to be the same angle as the bottom of your stone. So holding your stone in place, we have to gently start to bend the wires around the stone. You have to hold your stone straight so that your wire shapes are equal. So holding it as straight as you can against that bottom V we've just put into the wires. Bring your wires up and around the stone. When they get to this position, they're going to cross over. We don't want the wires to actually cross over each other. We need them to still stay sitting next to each other. Mine have crossed over a bit there. So that's the shape that we're looking for. So when you're happy with the shape, you need to now bend the tops of the wires outwards. Not the easiest thing to do. So do it roughly so you can see how it's going to be. And then you can adjust it a little bit more afterwards. So you've got this shape and you know your stone's going to sit nicely in there. Nice and snug. So you need to grab hold of your other stone and your other wire and do this to that one, so we're doing the same thing to both at the same time. So that's my second one, and we want them to roughly be, as best you can, to be the same size as each other. Separate your wires at the sides, pull them apart towards the bottom there, because square wire is really hard to bend out afterwards. If you close it all together and you haven't pulled your wires apart, it's hard to later on, and it really does break your nails. So pull your wires apart at the bottom, hold it here, and then squeeze them together at the top so that your wires sit slightly apart. Just makes it a bit easier later on. Hold your piece so that your wires definitely aren't crossed over on the sides. They're all nicely sat next to each other. And we're going to take the longer piece of half round now. So leaving a short tail and holding it so the wires aren't going to cross over each other, but you want to let everything come together tight here. I'm going to wrap around all of the wires together, and we're going to do it nice and tight. And we'll go around 3 times. And then take this tail end and go around 3 wires to the side, either side. We just go around that twice, but pull it quite firmly. I'm going to separate the back wires. And the front 2 wires on either side, I'm just going to pull them out of the way for now. these back two wires, I'm going to push together. I'm taking the half round wire and I'm going to continue to wrap around just those two back wires. And being careful to keep the flat side of the wire against the square wires, so you've got this lovely half round finish on the outside. So I've wrapped for 2 centimetres. And what I've done is, because we need these wires to be apart at the bottom here, I've actually got my pliers in there and pulled them apart at the bottom, because it's really quite tricky to get in there afterwards, after we've put the stone in. So get in there and pull the wires apart at the bottom on both sides, and wrap 2 centimetres of wire along the top. We need to cut this bottom tail end off. So we need now to catch up with the other one. So go back to your other one and do everything we've done to this one so they're both at the same stage. So then you should have 2 the same. So take one and position your stone in there. And you want to push it right down to the bottom, if you can. We'll start with the back. And we're going to grab this wire quite close to the bottom. You've really got to keep that stone as low as possible. And then pull this wire straight across over the back. We're going to do the same with the other side. Grab that wire on the end, pull it straight over the back. And then turn to the front. We're going to do the same with the front. Grab the wires either side quite close to the bottom and pull it right out over the stone. Do the same for the other side, close to the bottom as you can, and pull it out over the stone. As I pull the wire out, I hold across the top here with my thumb so that I'm stopping the wire coming out at the top, because at the top of the stone there you want the wire to stay to the sides, but at the bottom of the stone it needs to come in, to come over the stone. So we need to do that for the other one as well. So I've done my second one. Bend the top of the bail. And if you've got bail pliers, then that's great. If not, you can use anything you like really. I'm going to use a paintbrush just to get the shape over the top there, and so they match. When it gets to the back, just need to kink those wires straight out and then bring them together. Make sure it's all level, straight, and then take this wire, pulling it all close together. We just need to wrap a few times around just to hold everything together, and you need to do it nice and tightly. We'll finish that off with a few wraps around a single wire at the back. So I've pulled the two back wires out slightly, and we'll do the same for the other one. So I'm trying to keep working them both to the same stage, so we've got the same thing twice so that they look the same at the end. So up until this point they're both exactly the same, but from now one of them's going to go one way and the other one's going to go the other way, so that they end up as mirror images of each other. So we need to straighten out these wires a little bit just so we can see what we've got. So we've got two on the one side and two on the other. We don't want them straight, but we just want to separate them out a little bit. The wires on the back, we're just going to curl those into little curls each way, so we can cut those now just so that they're out of the way. Cutting them nice and short. And we'll do that for both of them. That's the backs. And that's the fronts so far. So now we're going to start with this outer wire on the right. We're going to curl it around. And then keep going around, but keep your eye on the shape. Because you want a nice tight curl. When you get to this stage, you want to add your 3mm bead. I find that the beads have to have a slightly bigger hole in the centre to get over the square wire. So then you want that wire to come across like that. So we're going to take the next wire. We'll do 2 wires, then we'll go to our other earring and do 2 wires. So this next wire, take your nylon pliers. If you haven't got any, you're just going to have to grip it tight with your hands and put a little bit of pressure on this, but we're going to twist. And we keep twisting, and if you're using square wire, do this. If you're using round wire, to make it look a little bit different, you could add coils. You could take some 0.315mm wire, 28 gauge, and wrap a load of coils onto it just to give it that bit of a different look to the bare wire. And I'm going to keep twisting this. You can see it starting to show now. Just go a little bit more. Got a nice twist on it. That's the advantages of using the square wire. It's quite hard to get hold of in the UK. I've had to buy my square wire from America, so I bought my square wire from Rio Grande, if that's how you pronounce it. We're going to bend this wire around to follow that wire like that. So that's what we've got so far. I'm based in the UK, so I buy all my wire from Metal Clays for You and Scientific wires. I just thought I'd mention that because I do get a lot of people asking me where I get my wire from. So we'll do this now on the other one. So move to your other one, and now we're going to start on the left. So take your furthest wire to the left, and we're going to scoop it around. And it's best to do it slowly, because it's the sudden movements that can make a mistake or put a dink in your wire. You want a nice steady curve. And watch the wire as it goes, because you don't want it too much, you don't want it too less. I'll put my 3mm bead on there. And then this wire goes across to the other side, like that. So it's an opposite of this one. So now I'm going to twist this wire and scoop it around to follow. So I've twisted my wire. Now I'm going to gently shape it around to follow that wire. And if you want to be a perfectionist, you could always count the twists that you do so that they are both exactly the same. Okay, so I've gone back to my first one. What I'm going to do now is with these two wires, just going to shape them around and send them behind these wires here. So we're going to make a bit of a heart shape at the top. And then I'm going to follow this wire and take it behind those other two wires. Gently pull it around so we end up with a nice shape like that. I'm going to do the same for the other one. Taking this bottom wire behind the other wires, and then the same for the top wire. Go behind the wires. Like that, so we've got a little heart shape. And they're both nice opposites of each other. So now turn into the back. And we need to curl these two short wires out of the way. So I'm going to curl one way and the other way. Oops, so I'm just going to grab the ends if I can. Curl it around and up out of the way. And I'll do that for the other one. And I've closed those loops so that they don't catch on anything, on your hair or anything. So the two wires now on this right hand side here that are bare wires, you're going to bend them around to the back, and you want to lift them up enough because we're going to post another wire through from the back there. So post them around to the back and take the bottom wire, and we're going to post that one back through to the front. And I'm holding the front firmly so that I don't misshape those wires. And I'm still really clinging onto these wires because you can really misshape them if you're not careful. So I'm going to curl that one around, and this one I'm just going to cut off and tuck around the back. Now I did that without holding onto it at the front there. So you must hold the wires at the front because you will pull it out of place. So I'm going to cut that top wire quite short, holding the front in place. I'm going to bend that wire around and just squeeze it around those wires there. Just check the shaping at the front there. This wire here, I'm just going to curl that, so I'm going to cut that off. Leave that for now. So with the other side, I'm going to bend these around to the back, holding the front in place, and I'm just going to cut them off and bend them around those wires on that one side. So we've just got the posted through one that's going to make a curl on the one side, not on both sides. You can do it on both sides if you want to. This is so tiny, it's hard to know where to grip it. I'm going to just post the wires through the middle there. I use the round nose just to bend the ends around. Just checking the shape. And then I'm just going to squeeze them around those wires so it's all secure in place. So I'm making earrings, and I forgot to mention that we're going to need ear wires. We're also going to need some little jumprings to go around the top. So I'll add that at the beginning. So I'm going to curl this wire now. I'm going to take a little bit of length off it. But that's the main structure of it done anyway. So we need to do that to the other one. So we start with the bare wires. We're going to send them around to the back, holding them in place at the front, and you want a gap so that you can send one of the wires back through. So you must make sure it's high enough so you've got a gap, and hold these in place as you bend them around to the back. The bottom wire needs to curl and come straight back in through the gap there. So really cling onto those front wires so you don't lose the shape. and then holding them up firmly in place again, you've got to bend the top wire around to the back. Checking the shape in. We cut this wire, post it through the back, and we cut this wire and curl it up into a little curl. So I've done my little curl and I've wrapped the wire around the back. So now with this wire, these two wires, holding it again firmly at the front, we're going to let the wires come across the top of the stone now, right the way to the back, and keep holding those wires across the front so you don't lose your shape. Cut those off nice and short. Push them through there, bend them around these three wires and squash them into shape with your pliers. So I've done that. So now I have almost finished. So we've added some little jump rings. These are 8mm outside measurement, and I've added some little ear wires. I normally use gold filled when I make my ear wires, and I don't have any at the minute, so I've quickly made some in copper just to show you what they would look like. And I really like those earrings. I think they're really quite cute, like little hearts. And you can use any stone you like, and you can use a bigger stone if you want to. You could even use a round stone and set it a little higher, so you still put the V in the bottom, but the stone sits a little bit higher, so you've got a gap at the bottom there. That could look quite nice. There's lots of little things you could change if you wanted to. You could twist more wire. You could even add a weave to the two wires on the one side if you wanted to. Lots of little things for you to have a play around with. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and you found it easy to follow. And thanks for subscribing, and please do if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!